Good day, everyone. This is Jerry from Rhapsody Tours. Today we're going to start looking at Canada in more detail. The way I would like to approach the Canadian series of podcasts is to begin where the first known Europeans landed. Now, I know I should start where the First Nations people landed on what is now Canada, but we're not 100% sure where exactly that is. I will start in Newfoundland and Labrador, and then move west. And I will attempt to keep the podcast short so they are easily digestible. I will share a little history, the way each province and territory is today, and then reveal some of the must-sees and do's. I might spend a couple of podcasts on each province and territory to give you a feel of what each region is like. So let's begin our journey in Newfoundland and Labrador. Now, Newfoundland and Labrador is located on the easterly edge of North America. This is where the sun first rises on the North American continent. The first known people to live on Newfoundland were the Palaeo-Indians, who arrived approximately 9,000 years ago after the last Ice Age glaciers receded. There was an influx of peoples over the next few thousand years until about 2 millenniums ago, when the Inuit arrived in Labrador and the Beothics arrived on the island of Newfoundland. The first known Europeans to land on Newfoundland were the Vikings, just over 1,000 years ago on the northmost tip of Newfoundland, today known as Lansing Meadows. Leif Erikson, the group's leader, called the area Vinland. Now, we're not quite sure why he called it Vinland, but back then it could have meant either wineland or pastureland. The island was possibly visited in 1497 by an Italian, John Cabot. Does that sound a little strange to you? Okay, his real name was Giovanni Caboto. He was working under contract to King Henry VII of England, thus the anglicized name. I say possibly because we know he was in the neighborhood. We're just not actually quite sure if he put boots on the ground. The island of Newfoundland has had a few names over the years. Terra Nova, New Land in Latin. It was also called Terra Neuve, a French name, which also means new land. And in the late 17th century, Irish fishermen called the island Tullum on Ice, meaning land of the fish. For my Irish Gaelic-speaking friends, forgive me for that attempted pronunciation. Other European visitors to Newfoundland consisted of Portuguese, Spanish, French, and English migratory fishermen. The estimates of the number of Beothics on the island at the time of Cabot vary, ranging from 1,000 to 5,000. By the beginning of the 19th century, there were a few Beothics remaining, either having been killed off by settlers or had died as the result of starvation and disease brought by the European settlers, in which their immune systems could not handle. Nancy Shonadidith, the last known Beothic, died on June 6, 1829. Now here is a little bit of interesting trivia for you. You have all heard the derogatory term redskins to describe Indians. Well, this originated in Newfoundland. The Beothics used the reddish soil to make a paste, and then put this paste on their faces for ceremonial purposes. The Europeans saw this and began calling them redskins. It spread. Now, even though the Beothics died off back in the early 1800s, many Newfoundland residents can trace a Native American ancestry to the Mi'kmaq, another First Nations people indigenous to the northeast region of North America. Newfoundland and Labrador is the youngest province in Canada, which existed as a British colony until 1949, the year it joined the rest of Canada, or as many Newfoundlanders have told me, the year Canada joined Newfoundland. Being the world's 16th largest island and Canada's 4th largest island, as you can imagine, fishing and the sea have been a critical part of Newfoundland life. The vast land, with the relatively small population, Newfoundland and Labrador has some of the friendliest people you will ever meet, and to me, this is one of the major attractions to the province, as well as its musical culture. Newfoundland has a dialect of English known as Newfoundland English, and a dialect of French known as Newfoundland French. Here, you can be absorbed in the wilderness solitude one day, and the next embrace a vibrant culture of the contemporary Western world. This is a land of rich history and natural wonders. There are stunning coastlines where you may see breaching whales or icebergs. The capital city, St. John's, is the home to the oldest permanent settlement and the oldest city in North America, but is still the youngest province in Canada. Cape Spear, just south of the capital, is arguably North America's eastmost point. The province's official name was Newfoundland until 2001, when it became Newfoundland and Labrador. Newfoundland and Labrador have seen more than their fair share of turbulent times over the centuries, and still the resilience is incredible. Even if you only spend a short period of time visiting this incredible province, you'll walk away knowing that you have experienced some of the most down-to-earth, friendliest, and most fun people on the planet. Okay, this is your first taste of Canada. At the beginning of the podcast, I mentioned how I'd like to approach the series, but we are also interested in what you would like to hear. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know, and we'll see if we can work them into a show. You can do this by visiting us at rhapsodytours.net, and that's RHAPSODY tours.net, or on Facebook at the Discover Canada page, or on Twitter at Rhapsody Tours. Well, that's it for today. In our next podcast, we'll take a look at what guests can expect to see when they visit Newfoundland and Labrador. Until then, have a wonderful day. The Traveling Kilt podcasts are a division of rhapsodytours.net.